Look, he's giving you what you wanted, but you don't like the package. That is the theme of last week, the week before, and this week. You're getting what you wanted, you're getting what you asked for, but you don't like the package that it came wrapped up in.
Right.
You know, I got to tell you, I did not appreciate the God that saved me when I came to the Lord. Because I did not, and I know I didn't. I may have thought at the time I did, but I did not expect what God did. I expected God to wave his magic hands and for my life to not be such a mess. I expected there to be goodness and fairy dust and, singing everywhere I went. Or something. I don't know what I expected. But I didn't expect to wake up the next morning and still have all my same problems. I got serious about God. Not when I said the sinner's prayer, but when I got serious about it, which was a few years later. My wife had left me. Guess what? I woke up the next day, my wife was still gone.
Right.
My life hadn't changed. I was still driving the same truck. I still had the same job. Now, I didn't drink for years after that, which was one change. But then all of a sudden I had to pick up the pieces. I had to go, well, who am I? Not even knowing that it would be another few years and I would be homeless. Not even knowing that there would be times when I would be living in Arizona in 110-degree heat with no car and 2 miles to the nearest store. Not even knowing that sometimes there would be stress. Sometimes things would be difficult. Sometimes people wouldn't like me. Sometimes I'd get my feelings hurt and suck my thumb. Too much information? You guys didn't need to know all that? Okay. But I just thought that, if I'm a believer now and if I'm surrendering my life to that, doesn't that mean that everything's going to be better? You know what I didn't know? Nobody told me. God didn't come to change my circumstance. God came to change me.
Right.
Ouch, I didn't want that. If somebody had told me ahead of time, I would have done something different. I don't know, but probably not. There's really nowhere to go. His own servants came to him and said, dude, he's giving you an answer. Are you too proud? Now, they couldn't say it that way. They probably would have got their heads lopped off. But are you too proud? By the way, the Jordan River is muddy. It's not a deep river. That's where John the Baptist was baptizing. It's a shallow river. It's muddy. It's not beautiful and clean and picturesque. And think of it from his point of view. He is somebody. The last time he was there, he was riding away in victory with the spoils of war. And he goes back there and gets treated like crap. He can't. He could not have anticipated that. And he goes down there and they say, why don't you try it? Why don't you just try it? What do you have to lose? You're here. It couldn't have been a day's ride from one place to another. It had to be some distance. So he went down and he dipped himself 7 times in the Jordan, according to the word of the man of God. He went down once. And he came up and he said, I know I'm being humiliated. This is stupid. It's your turn. It's your turn this time.
Turn it down. I don't know what's happening.
We don't have a swear jar, but
no,
a ringer jar.
A ringer jar, yeah.
We don't have to put money in it. Well, we can.
We can, yeah.
Or we can
We've had times
if your name doesn't get drawn out of it, you get a prize.
You get a prize. Okay.
You get a cup pen.
How about this? If your phone doesn't ring again, if your phone doesn't ring, the rest of this Bible study, you get a meal when we're done.
All right.
Turn it up.
Okay.
Turn it up.
You can even smell it now.
Don't y'all really get that milk for y'all?
Hey, we don't need to talk
I did
about
turn
that.
it down, but I
Fine print.
Yeah.
So I apologize.
Yes, no, that's okay. Yeah. He went down, and he thought he was being punked. He was expecting Ashton Kutcher to come at any moment and start mocking him. And as he dunked, you have to wonder, okay, he did it once. He's like, this is stupid. He did it twice. They're just mocking me. He did it a third time. This is ridiculous. Every time he's doing it, he's probably getting madder and madder. I would. Maybe this guy's much classier than I am. But yeah, it's like every time he's going through, he's got to have emotions. I mean, this is a real human being. And so he gets all done, and it says he was that his flesh was restored like the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. It worked. Then he returned to the man of God, he and all his company, and he came and stood before him, and he said, Behold, I know that there is no God in all the earth but in Israel. So accept now a present from your servant. Behold, I know that there is no God in all the earth but in Israel. He came from a pagan country. They worshiped gods all the time. They had multiple gods. They had gods for this and gods for that. As we talked about earlier, last week or the week before, they worshipped Baal, which demanded child sacrifice. They worshipped Asherah, which was a fertility goddess. So they would have the fertility, they'd have the kid, and then they would take their firstborn and they would sacrifice it. There were gods all over the place. But whatever was happening, he wasn't getting cured of his leprosy by that. But this guy suddenly got it. The light came on and he went, there's only one God that matters here. And that God is in Israel. In verse 16, it's Elisha talking, the prophet. He said, as the Lord lives, before whom I stand, I will receive none. In other words, I don't want your money. Okay? He was willing to pay him handsomely. What happened to the prophets in the Bible who took money, by the way? Bad things happened to all of them. If you use the gifts of God for profit, we've probably all heard the story of Balaam, whose donkey talked to him. He was paid to curse Israel. Every time he opened his mouth, all that would come out was a blessing. And the guy who hired him would get madder and madder about it. As the Lord lives, before whom I stand, I will receive none. And he urged him to take it. He, meaning Nahum. But he, Elisha, refused. Then Nahum said, if you're not going to take the money, please let there be given to your servant, meaning him, 2 mule loads of earth. For from now on your servant will not offer burnt offerings or sacrifice to any god but Yahweh. The gods of the world, and by gods I'm talking about little g's, the gods of the world that they worshipped in these pagan cultures, the Titans, the Olympians, the Norse gods, the Greek gods, the Roman gods, those are all based on real spiritual entities. We've talked about this before. The word Elohim in the Bible means a spirit that does not have a body. So Yahweh is an Elohim. But no other Elohim is Yahweh. Yahweh is outside of time, he's all-powerful, and he's all-knowing, and he is the creator of all these other things. But all the spirit beings that he created first are Elohim. We call them angels. Angels actually means a messenger, so angel is more like a job title. Like, I am a reverend, it's a title that somebody gave me, actually Pastor Dave. But pastor is a job title. Pastor is actually something you do with that. These gods that ruled over these places, the gods rule over territories, land. They worship, they rule over the sea. They worship over land. They worship over geographic locations. And if you want to see where that is in the New Testament, read where Paul talks about powers and principalities. These are fallen angels, evil spirits, call them whatever you want. Again, I don't like the term demon because demon actually means something a little bit different. But they had control over geographic areas. Now, this guy, this Naaman, was from one of those geographic areas that was controlled by a demon. When God told Joshua, to get back to what we were talking about earlier, when God told Joshua, drive all of the people out of the promised land, and that included the area that would have been the city of Canaan. Was it Canaan? I have to go to the map. I forgot that fast. Never turned 60. It's not worth it. Sidon. I'm sorry. Even the area of Sidon, that should have been under Jewish control, because that's part of the area that God told, but they never got that far. They never took it. And so the gods of that geographic area held on to it.